Hey dark-themed comics fans! Are you ready to take your love for comics and pop culture to the next level? Introducing DTC Shop, your ultimate destination for custom-designed t-shirts and awesome digital comics. Whether you're into horror icons, anime legends, or the dark and gritty world of the boys, we've got something for every fan. Our high-quality, 100% cotton tees let you wear your fandom with pride, while our digital comics bring you epic stories you'll be hard-pressed to find anywhere else. So why wait? Head over to DTC Shop now and gear up with the coolest merch and some of the most underrated comics in the game. Because being a fan isn't just a hobby, it's a lifestyle. And now, our feature presentation.
Few horror franchises have built as devoted a cult following as The Evil Dead. Sam Raimi's 1981 low-budget gore fest introduced audiences to Ash Williams, the Necronomicon Ex Mortis, and the flesh-possessing Deadites, blending terror, comedy, and outrageous violence in a way that defined cult horror cinema. But beyond the big screen, Evil Dead has carved out a significant legacy in the comic book medium. For decades, publishers have adapted, expanded, and reimagined Raimi's films for readers, giving fans more blood-soaked adventures than ever thought possible. This video breaks down the history, key storylines, and ongoing appeal of Evil Dead comics, as well as how they differ from and complement the better-known Army of Darkness series. The first comic adaptations of The Evil Dead arrived in the early 2000s when Dark Horse Comics secured the rights to create stories based on the franchise. One of the most notable early projects was The Evil Dead in 2008, a 4-issue miniseries written by Mark Verheiden with art by John Bolton. Rather than continuing Ash's adventures, this series was a straightforward comic adaptation of the original 1981 film, capturing the claustrophobic cabin-in-the-woods terror. It aimed to bring the raw, unsettling atmosphere of Raimi's first movie into illustrated form, complete with over-the-top gore and demonic possession sequences. While Dynamite Entertainment has published the bulk of Evil Dead comics, other publishers have dabbled in the franchise. Space Goat Publishing, for instance, released several Evil Dead 2 branded miniseries between 2015 to 2017, diving deeper into the supernatural mythology. Many of the stories retain Ash Williams as the central protagonist, but some also experiment with side characters, new victims, or previously unexplored aspects of the Necronomicons' history. Unlike Army of Darkness comics, which often lean into horror comedy and throw Ash into a variety of bizarre crossovers, the Evil Dead comics tend to focus more on the core horror roots of the franchise. A classic example is Evil Dead 2, Beyond Dead by Dawn, released in 2015, published by Space Goat Productions. This 3-issue limited series explores what happens after Ash is sucked into the time vortex and plays out much differently than Army of Darkness. These expansions allowed the Evil Dead brand to carve out a niche in comics that lean darker and scarier than Army of Darkness, while still keeping Ash's irreverent personality intact in the process. While Army of Darkness comics have dominated the spotlight, the Evil Dead comics stand apart as a purer, scarier extension of Raimi's horror vision. They remind readers that, before Ash became a chainsaw-wielding, wisecracking anti-hero, The Evil Dead was first and foremost a story about isolation, possession, and survival. For longtime fans or curious newcomers, diving into Evil Dead comics is like opening the Necronomicon, dark, dangerous, and impossible to put down. Whether you're a die-hard horror comic fan or just someone looking to experience Sam Raimi's cabin-in-the-woods nightmare in a new format, Evil Dead comics offer a bloody, entertaining ride.